So we've got the FIA hearing between Alpine McLaren over the contract dispute of Oscar Piastri started Monday. Okay, so it could be several days till we hear any news. Full disclosure, this is a Monday afternoon in the States right now, a Monday evening over in Europe for you guys as we're recording this. So where do we stand? And is Alpine rightful in the fact that they had a contract with Piastri?
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in this. It was funny. I tweeted out a story on this earlier, and I would say about 50% of the comments were like, "Why aren't the FIA streaming this? Why aren't they, you know?" And I was like, "Do you realize this would be a really boring thing to watch?" I think because they're going over the minutiae of a contract, but it shows you how big the interest is in it. Yeah. So at the time of recording, we don't know. Of course, when people are listening to this, they might know more than we do. But the fascinating thing is talking to people in Formula One for about 2 weeks over the summer break. Everybody said, I'm convinced McLaren has the deal is ironclad here. But since the Belgian Grand Prix week has happened, I think Alpine has been able to talk to a few more people, and there's some real doubt now. I think I would still say I would bet on McLaren over Alpine getting the deal based on what people are saying and what people who kind of have knowledge of what's been signed are saying. But you never know. A lot of people there's obviously a lot of onus on McLaren to talk up their chances, a lot of onus on Alpine to talk up their chances as well. What's really fascinating for me, I think the easily the most fascinating storyline from this would be if Alpine's contract is upheld, because
then what happens?
Because exactly, because I'm not
the
sure
relationship
whether
looks
Alpine,
damaged.
yeah, I mean, you had Otmar Safnauer said they said, what do you wish had happened here? And he said, I wish Oscar Piastri just had a bit more integrity. He said he told Oscar when Oscar was sat in the simulator of their Alpine F1 car, obviously, part of the program that they've laid on for him to get him ready for Formula One. And apparently Oscar said, oh, thanks very much. I would have been suspicious if a guy had just said thanks very much, if I just told him we're going to give you your F1 debut, but that's me. Otmar obviously was very trusting, and Piastri left, and obviously in the corridor was probably then either constructing that great tweet he sent out or he had it sent to him. But clearly there, I think this is where potential versus character is now going to be key. If Alpine's is held up, do they want Piastri because of how good he is, or can they not look past the fact that he's really humiliated them? I think it's really made Alpine look really bad. And if they don't want him, what happens then? They're in a great position. I think then they can actually then turn to McLaren and say, well, we'll still give you Piastri. You've got to pay us for him. There's been a theory this week about them maybe going to AlphaTauri and saying, well, how about we trade Piastri with Pierre Gasly? Now, I think Pierre Gasly deep down probably wants to get out of the Red Bull program. I've spoken to one person pretty high up at Red Bull who was basically like, if we get an offer for Gasly, we're going to sell him, because they just don't see him going back to the main team. So it would put Alpine in a really strong position. I think they'll still be in that strong position if Piastri goes to McLaren, but it won't be quite as strong because they won't be able to use Piastri as a pawn. But I think they'll still be in the running for kind of Ricciardo or for Gasly, by the sounds of it. So really fascinating. And I think that there should be one contract dispute every year in Formula One, because I think it's great. It's just fantastic to not know who's going where. And the fact that, they then have to turn up at the team that they've just spurned, I think it's great. The last few weeks have been awesome. So that's where we stand at the moment. Of course, this is likely to be settled by the time of the Zandvoort race. But it could take a while. I was told it could take 48 hours, could take 72 hours, and that was kind of Monday midday Europe time. So we're talking into Wednesday, maybe into Thursday. The teams will want it sorted. They don't want that dragging on, because also they have drivers ringing them up saying, do you have a seat for us next year or not? So I think all parties want to get it sorted as quickly as possible, but it's not quite as simple as that.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.